The ultimate ore farmer, an absolute legend, one of the best to ever do it. And he didn't even want to be there. Machine guns raining hellfire, his squad cut down, but by the end of the day, he single-handedly wiped out multiple machine gun nests, took out 20 of his enemies, and marched 132 prisoners out of Argonne Forest like it was a church picnic. This is the story of Alvin York, the farm boy from Tennessee who didn't even want to fight, but became one of the greatest warriors in American history. Welcome to Recon Lore, where American history isn't just history, it's lore. And we're bringing that America core with the daily dose of patriotic pride. The goal is to fight back against this anti-American culture with stories of positive American history that help build the best nation in the world. If you love America, join the movement by subscribing and like the video so we get as many of us together as fast as we can. Till our 250th anniversary of independence, this channel will be dropping a piece of American lore as much as possible. Share with a friend, hit that notification bell to keep up with every video that's put out. And the more support the channel gets, the more videos of American guts and glory come your way. Alvin York. Born in 1887 in Pall Mall, Tennessee. One of 11 kids, and unfortunately, his father died when they were young. Poor as dirt but tougher than iron, he grew up hunting to feed the family. Squirrels, rabbits, turkeys. And he wasn't just a good shot, he was legendary. Locals said York could shoot the head off of a squirrel without touching the meat. But York wasn't a saint. In his teens and his 20s, he drank, he brawled, he got into trouble. And I mean, come on, who didn't? Then came his religious awakening. He gave up the booze, he gave up the violence, and he joined a pacifist Christian denomination and swore he'd never fight again. So when the draft board came calling in 1917, York said, "I can't fight. My Bible says thou shalt not kill." But the army, they wouldn't let that slide. He prayed, he wrestled with it, and he finally came to believe that God wanted him to fight. Not for hate, not for glory, but to protect. So he was shipped off to France with the 82nd All-American Division. And what a name for a division. I love it. Fast forward to October 8th, 1918. Mayu's Argonne Offensive, the biggest American push of the war. York's unit, the 328th Infantry Regiment, was ordered to storm Hill 223. What a name for a hill. Hey, how many hills? We got a bunch. Just throw a number on it. 223. Just storm Hill 223. Ugh. But German Maxim machine guns cut them to ribbons. Think of a meat grinder, but louder and on fire. Every advance was shredded before they got 10 yards. But York's commander picked 17 men for a flanking mission, sneak behind the enemy lines, take out the machine guns. And York was in the squad. At first, it worked. They captured a German HQ and rounded up prisoners. But then, all hell broke loose. The hill was lit up around them, man. I mean, you're in enemy lines there. And dozens of machine guns opened fire from hidden nests. The Americans were pinned down, men dropping everywhere. Of 17, only 8 were left standing. And suddenly, Alvin York, the man who didn't even want to be there, was the last hope. York hit the mud. Bullets hissed through the leaves. Machine guns raked the clearing, chopping down brush, spraying dirt into his face. He later said, "I was right out in the open. Those machine guns were spitting fire and cutting down the undergrowth all around me. I didn't have time to dodge behind a tree or dive into a hole. I just had to stand there and take it. And I did." And that might have been some divine intervention. I mean, it was real gory and brutal back in World War I. So I couldn't even imagine how this guy just survived like that without taking cover. Then there was Alvin's hunting instincts that saved him. He remembered chasing down wild turkeys in Tennessee. The trick wasn't to shoot the first one you saw. It was to start with the furthest, and then the rest would scatter. That's exactly what he did. He did what he wanted to the Germans, just like he did what he wanted to them turkeys. Because he was hungry. He was hungry for a win. He was hungry to eat. He was hungry to live. So he picked off the furthest gunner first. Crack. Down. Then another. Crack. Down. Then the next. Crack. Down. One by one, York dropped them with surgical precision. Every shot counted. He didn't miss. German soldiers realized they were being hunted, and 6 men with bayonets rushed at him at once. And York, he coolly drawled his Colt 45 sidearm, and he started got right to work. Boom, boom, boom. 6 shots, 6 bodies. Not one got close. He later recalled, it was like they were ducks in a row. Still, the machine guns kept hammering. York kept crawling forward, silencing nest after nest. He took out about 20 men in total, dismantling the German position almost entirely alone, along with his men giving him cover fire so he could move from spot to spot. It was like a video game. One man clutching the round and carrying the team, but a lot of people like to say that York did it by himself. He couldn't move from cover to cover without his men. Every man counted, and every bit of cover fire allowed him to make his move. And by the time York reached the main position, dozens of Germans were gone. The guns were silent, and the survivors were in shock. Then came the moment that sealed the legend. German Major Paul Vollmer, commander of the 120th Württemberg Infantry Regiment, finally snapped. He saw York mowing down his men like corn stalks and yelled, "Stop." York shouted back, "All right, you go on in and I won't hurt you." Vollmer tried to slip away, but York raised his rifle and said, "If you don't come back, I'll drop you where you stand." And Vollmer froze. Then in disbelief, he ordered his entire unit to surrender. I assume he thought there were way more Americans behind him, not just 7 or 8 guys. But 132 men, machine guns, rifles, officers, everything laid down their arms to one guy with a rifle and a pistol. York marched them back through Argonne like it was nothing. Other American soldiers saw the column and thought York had lost his mind. One officer said, "Where'd you get all those prisoners?" York dead seriously said, "I captured them." Imagine that moment. One country boy herding an entire regiment like sheep. It was an absolute absurd and instant legend. My man was like a wolf guiding the sheep back. It was insanity. I couldn't even imagine seeing something like that. For his actions, Alvin York was promoted to sergeant. He received the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, the French Croix de Grue, I can't pronounce French, the Italian Croix de Grue, I can't pronounce Italian, I'm too American for this. And he got more that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, so I won't. But he got a whole lot of medals. Even Montegro sent a medal. When reporters asked how he pulled it off, York simply said, "It was not a man's power. A higher power guided me and gave me the strength." This dude was what, a warrior of God? Like, my man said he had divine intervention, allowing him to take these guys out, to do the impossible, to fight the fight. He came home a hero. The army, movie producers, yeah, you grimy freaks, and advertisers, they all offered him fame and money, but he turned it down. He said, "This uniform isn't for show. I did what I did, nothing more." Humble beyond belief. He was more than happy to just be alive. He was happy to have served. He was happy to do what he had to do, and he didn't want any extra accolades for it. But instead, he went to Tennessee. He fought a different battle: poverty. He used his reputation to build schools and churches and roads for mountain kids who had nothing, just like he did once. He once said, "The boys of the mountain deserve the same chance as the boys of the city." And that was his mission, lifting up his people. Alvin York was more than a warrior. He was a servant to his country, in peace as well as war. In 1941, Hollywood told his story. Sergeant York, starring Gary Cooper. It became the biggest movie of the year, and Cooper won an Oscar. And it really helped build up a lot of people to enlist in World War II. But York himself never cared for the spotlight. He farmed. Did a little ore farming too, but he was farming the land. He raised kids. He served his neighbors. And when he died in 1964, the Army gave him a hero's funeral. Flags draped, rifles fired. The man once tried to avoid the draft and became one of the greatest warriors of American history. One of the greatest warriors America ever produced. One man, one rifle, 132 prisoners. Alvin York wasn't chasing glory. He wasn't a born killer. He was a man of faith who loved his country enough to fight and then spent the rest of his life serving in peace. That's why Alvin York isn't just history. He's a legend. He's a part of American lore. He's a part of what makes us proud to be American because he's one of the brave that sacrificed so that we can be a part of the free. This is Recon Lore, where American history isn't just history, it's lore. It's filled with legends. And if York's story fired you up, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button so that we can get you more stories like this, American grit and glory. And I'll see you on the next one.